employer.
Right. I'll have to interrupt you. Nobody is denying that these companies are profitable. I mean, the top IT companies in India still have margins of over 20%. But you have to admit that historically, if you look at the kind of growth rates that, they had a few years back to now, it has been coming down. There is no denial in that. You can see it from the industry projections that NASSCOM is giving. You can see it from the net addition of employees. And you can see it based on, the fact that their growth is becoming more non-linear. So one is not denying that these are profitable companies. I think the margins, the rate of growth is coming down, from a few years, from say 20%, 15% levels that we saw a few years back to single-digit growth rates now. I want to bring in Mr. Chris Lakshmikant at this point. So where is the fault here? Sudarshan is talking about an industry-wide trend where growth is coming down for companies. They're obviously constrained by that. And Vasumati is saying that, these companies are still very profitable. Why aren't employees getting a share of that? And I think wage costs account for over 50% of costs for most IT companies. So where do you think the fault lies here?
Chandra, there has been seismic changes in the industry. It's a fundamental change which has happened. A quantum change has happened. And like we started with mainframes, then we went to servers, .com, e-com, and now we are in the digital age. In the digital age, a lot of things are happening which have changed the whole thing. For instance, I was looking at the TCS numbers. Take TCS. TCS in the 2013 had 276,000 people, and they were adding on net addition of 10% people year on year. But last year, that is 2018, ending March, they have added only 2% more of employees. And bulk of this strength has gone up in the US, not in India. What it means is that the Indian employees who are there in India, their numbers are going to go down. And it is not only with TCS, it is happening in Infosys, it is happening in CTS and so on. Secondly, if you look at the overall market size, today Capgemini is compared in terms of margins with Infosys or a TCS. Infosys has about 52% of their cost turnover as salary costs. In case of Capgemini, it is 62%. So as a shareholder, I will ask the question, why is Capgemini paying more to their employees? This is where the management of Capgemini is looking at it. They have almost become an Indian company. If you look at it, out of the 200,000 employees, 100,000 are in India, and they are adding more people in India. So it's a question of balance. Do we add more people in India? If so, do we pay them more, or do we keep the people in India, pay them along with inflation and pay them bonuses? And that is what a decision somebody in Capgemini has taken. We will see it happen in Accenture. We will see it happen in other companies too. It is not going to change. It's a fundamental change, and we have to live with it.
Can be a developer.
Right. I get your point there, valid point, that, your expectations are in line with what the company is posting. I'm going to get the final word in from Chris Lakshmikant. So, what is the solution here? Is the onus on the companies? Is the onus on employees to adapt themselves to this new normal? Because, where is the solution in all this? Companies are talking about potential in digital, potential in growth going forward. Where does that leave the employees then? Because employees have accounted for a major part of the growth process so far. Growth has been linear. Now suddenly you're seeing this trending towards non-linear. Where does that leave these millions of IT employees, millions of techies in India?
Madam, let us also look at the external environment. We are in an election year in India. So to some extent, the layoffs which we are talking of last year is not happening. But if you look at the increments being given or not given, it is an indirect expression of that. My personal feeling is that the industry is having 10% more employees than what they need. And it will happen maybe at the end of next year. when after the elections are over, these companies will start cutting. Now, whether they are cutting is morally right, I am not the person to talk about it. But the fact is, we are got to be competitive in the international world. And if we are going to do it, we have to be internationally competitive, number one, not only everywhere, but also in terms of salaries. Secondly, if you look at it, the IT was